Flat Earth Debate live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a Ko-Fi, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using stock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now we are joined by Click OK, Neil, Sensual Goat, and a whole bunch of people in the Flat Earth Debate Discord server. So, welcome one and all.
Let's get it on!
Hello.
Hello, did I hear chocolate? I heard a brotherly vibe from somebody's voice. I don't know who it was. It sounded like chocolate was here.
That was Eli, but he might think he's chocolate.
Where's Eli? Is Eli in the hangout? Hey, Eli. I don't see Eli. Somebody else who said hello. Anyway, good to have you all. Good to be here. As a helicopter goes overhead, hopefully my shotgun mic's doing a good job of rejecting that nonsense. Right at the beginning of my live show, somebody's escaped the prison that isn't nearby me. Anyway,
no, they're looking for you.
They're looking for me, are they? They want to hang me as a heretic for translating the Bible. We were talking about William Tyndale in the pre-show. Now, William Tyndale was a chap who translated the Bible for the consumption of the general populace. That is to say, up until its translation, the Bible that is, the people were controlled by the religion that the church said the Bible had within it. And to sort of quote a recent sketch that I saw about, it might be from a film, a clip from a film or a TV short story or whatever, about a couple of dudes that go back in time, a couple of brothers that go back in time and get captured and put on the cotton plants, or plantations or whatever, get to be cotton-picking black Americans as slaves. And while they're talking to their captors and trying to explain to them that they shouldn't be in this position, the captor, the slave owner, the white cracker as he'd now be described, holds the Bible up to them and tells them that he's got the right to own them. And these obviously sent back in time from the future brothers say, that's not what the Bible says. And of course they get whipped. The point being that Tyndale, upon translating the Bible, exposed the control structures that the church used by way of their version of what they said the religion of Christianity was. Now we lifting the similar veil in terms of what Earth is, according to the current religion, which is outer space and heliocentrism. This is the current, I used to say, Western world religion. May have its origins in the Western world, but the Western world has expanded into the known world, and the formerly third world countries have now been brought into the fold as underdeveloped countries or developing countries. None of that third world telling terminology anymore. I say no, sir, no, no, no. But yes, the reveal of an Earth that was always measured flat, and always will be and can only be measured flat, is the modern day equivalent of translating the Bible and showing that, well, you say the Earth is this, but in reality we just measure it flat. And the creation of a ball for you to say it's curving and the surface is curving requires us measure Earth flat also to create what's on screen now. From an equatorial or extended celestial flat plane that we measure angles to the stars with. That's how Earth is measured. That's how the ball was created. It's the metaphorical equivalent of translating the Bible to explain to the common man how a flat earth is measured to create a ball, to be within, to pretend you're on, to project angles through, to a celestial sphere that wraps around your position like a protractor. How concisely I can say it after 10 years. Burn him!
Helicopters are getting close.
You betcha. Yeah. It's one of those.
We doing a video today?
Yeah, we've got a video to cover. So we've got VFX artists from an enormous channel called Corridor Crew. And I will definitely encourage you to go and let these guys know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me, as these guys they're my kind of YouTubers, right? In the respect that these guys are proper grafters. They'd be mistaken for grafters, as in they work, right? Their craft, their work has led them to be experts in a given field. In this case, VFX, right? So they can spot VFX nonsense and then point it out where it's applied in things like, in this case, UFOs, little green men, I would assume. So I've put a link to these guys in the chat. So it's whizzing its way by now. If you are watching live, I'm not sure how many people are watching live. We've only just started a couple of minutes ago. Let's have a little look. But if you are watching, if you're amongst the 30 people watching live, please let Corridor Crew know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a polite comment that doesn't immediately get removed by Corridor Crew, or indeed by the YouTube algorithmic bots that would rather you weren't talking about Flat Earth in other highly subscribed YouTube videographers' comment sections. So, just let them know in the politest possible way at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a nice comment that just alludes that we've covered their video. And hopefully, if they were to respond to our reaction to their video, they would do the same for me. A tiny little YouTuber by comparison. And put a link to Nathan Oakley 1980 YouTube channel when discussing our reaction to their highly sought after opinion, I would say. If I was to try and debunk a ghost video, for instance, you're listening, cats. These are the guys I'd speak to, yeah? If I was looking to undermine a moon landing video, maybe that's a step too far. We'll see. Maybe that's the point of this. But this has been selected by one of our own in the Discord panel. This was selected by A.E. Mia from Discord, and that's who we have to thank for covering this video today. So yeah, let them know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Hopefully I've bought enough time for one or two of the now 32 strong audience to have popped along and let them know we are covering their video. So yeah, as I say, we'll do that now. Is there anything that anybody wants to say in preparation to me clicking the play button so that it's not immediately interrupted the moment I start it? Maybe
How many followers?
6.84 million.
Wow.
Anything else? No? Well then, without further ado.
This looks like it's taken out of the window of an airplane. Yeah. Like, oh, what the?
It's three distinct lights.
As professionals, is this authentic footage or is this manipulated footage?
I mean, that's not for us to assess. I mean, this is going to be assessed by them based on their VFX expertise. Obviously, the parallel that we will see shortly, hopefully, will be explained.
This appears to be in camera.
Why is that?
There's a few various clues, like the micro shakes of the camera, so the dots and the wing kind of move at the same time. Secondly, the camera goes out of focus on both the dots and the wing at the same time. Those are two artifacts that you would have to intentionally replicate, adding that in.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to be honest, as soon as he said it, it seemed obvious as he was saying it. I could see it, but that's more likely than not simply because he's saying it rather than I'm watching it upon second viewing. I'm seeing what he's saying. But I'm sure you as the audience are seeing what he's saying as he's saying it, and nobody would disagree.
Manually. Are we looking at internal reflections of the airplane window?
Again, John?
Nathan, he talked about the wing, and you know, the wing has a pitch with respect to horizontal. horizontal is a concept that could only be used with a flat Earth. Are you taking that into account when you look at your videos, sir?
So my compadre on my G Plus panel is asking the corridor crew if they appreciate, thank you, John, that the journey that's being taken by this traveller as he films or doesn't, we'll find out shortly, I'm sure, is with respect to a horizontal plane of reference. Maybe they are unfamiliar with the term level flight. If they were to look at, say, black box data of an aircraft, they'd appreciate that the wing, in terms of how much lift it can provide, can be described with the pitch of the aircraft, and the pitch of the aircraft is described with respect to a horizontal plane of reference. That's surface level or sea level. So you're asking them if they're aware of the lift effect and how that would ultimately require a flat Earth surface level measured from sea level to describe this plane remaining in flight. Is that what your question was, just to be clear?
Yeah, along those lines. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, good enough.
You do see internal reflections of the airplane window, which is the big blue and kind of white spots that happen in the top left of the screen right there. So your instinct of looking for internal reflections or reflections through windows, especially like doubled ones, is smart. But for those reflections to work, they either need to be moving in exact opposite of each other, like you're around a pivot point, mirroring around a pivot point, or moving exactly together. And in this case, their size and shape is changing. One of the things that strikes me about this not being CGI is how much of the screen is just in darkness. So if you were trying to track these dots into real footage, you would have nothing to track and you'd have to do it all by hand. And you would...
Any comment? Again, as he's pointing this stuff out, it seems so obvious with an expert pointing it out, right? Yeah, that makes sense.
Inevitably get some weird jitter, but I'm not seeing any weird motion whatsoever. So let's put a pin in this one. Part of the same family of sightings is the flying disc. And this is a sighting from Jalisco, Mexico. What?
I don't really understand. So maybe at this point, AE, can you tell us why we're covering this?
Well, right now they're going through what they're seeing, but as soon I want you to respond to their when it comes to their debunking. You'll see this as soon as they'll explain this. Right now, you can if you want to forward like half a minute there, but they're going to respond to explain this data, and that was pertinent to what you do.
Okay.
And
so
somebody
play on a little bit more.
Yep.
What the heck?
Yeah, it looked at first like it was rotating, but I think it's just like a linear trajectory of some kind.
Well, let's take another look here, because this is a multiple sighting phenomenon.
Is it rotating or is it moving in a direction and just like fading off, you know, tapering off? You're showing these together. Are you saying these are the same type of phenomena?
I mean, I know this isn't what probably you want me to react to, but as we're looking at it, and they're talking about these UFOs, I mean, what of them? When people see this stuff, you're like, okay, so because you don't know what that light is, why would that mean it suddenly has any significance at all? Like, so what? There's lights in the sky. Yeah, we've got craft that can fly. This isn't really that fascinating to me. But for the fact that there's a suggestion that there's a sky vacuum with little green men coming from it, nothing that we see in the sky would be that interesting, given that we know that we can fly and put lights, artificial ones, into the sky.
These are actually all racetrack UFOs.
What do you mean by racetrack UFOs? I still haven't gotten an answer on what that means.
I'll give you an answer once you figure out what the heck we're looking at.
Oh, we're looking at cars going around a racetrack, except they're in the sky.
Oh, dude, it's a mountain. It's just dark. They're coming around the corner. I say that jokingly, but that'd be really cool if that worked out.
I honestly...
Wait a minute, is that right?
No.
Okay, so how much longer do we need? AE, Mia? Another minute or so, maybe?
Oh,
Yeah, they're still explaining it. There's a little bit
All right,
more
here's another
explaining there, but
See, they're called racetrack UFOs because pilots are the ones who often report seeing these, and it's like they're racing in circular patterns on the horizon. The time at which all these videos are taken is basically the same. Most pilots report seeing this at dawn flying to the east.
Those are just airplanes.
So not airplanes.
Okay, I mean, east is a flat Earth only direction. Might as well just point that out here.
Those are definitely not airplanes. So a racetrack UFO is another way of describing a satellite when it's catching the sun from behind the horizon.
Definitely not. So this nonsensical explanation that requires sky vacuums and tin cans floating around in orbital motion is a bastardization of flat Earth elevation angle measurements to lights in the sky. So to appeal to this means that if you have a fundamental understanding of what creates this now reified CGI, lads, aren't you a CGI show? Are you justifying how or in this case, I don't know what the conclusion's going to be, but potentially CGI, some of the videos you critique are, by throwing up a CGI second law of thermodynamics violation? Let me explain. Number one, I, without any CGI expertise whatsoever, can tell you without question that this is CGI. How do I know? Is it because I can spot the layers? No. Is it because I know what DaVinci Resolve can do? That's probably an audio program. Whatever the video equivalent is, if it is an audio program. But I don't need to know Photoshop is my point, right? What do I need to know to tell you unequivocally that this is CGI? Well, a couple of things. Number one, this area is in the rhetoric of heliocentrism a 10 to the minus 17 torr sky vacuum. Now, based on the laws of nature that govern how gas behaves, gas, that's unbonded particles of gas, move at high velocity in all directions and spread out until they collide with either another gas particle, an object in their path, or ultimately the walls of their containment. Now, if there is no containment, that would be kind of like pretending that the laws of nature that govern how gas behaves do not apply to this gas I'm waving my mouse over. If we pretend that this is gas that you and I are all breathing, that would be high pressure gas, then all of this gas moving in high velocity in all directions would want to spread out into the available volume. Now, this law of nature is called entropy, described by the second law of thermodynamics. In this case, the law would describe how high pressure gas goes to a low pressure area of volume. Now, this violation of natural law, CGI imagery, violates those natural laws that apply always to our physical reality. In physical reality, gas fills space. So if this was real, as opposed to the definitely CGI imagery that it is, then nobody who is claimed to be on these land masses would have any gas to breathe, because all of this claimed to be thin layer of high pressure gas would, by way of entropic dispersion, described with a law of nature, second law of thermodynamics, if I could say the word, would spread out into this available volume claimed to be 10 to the minus 17 torr, where satellites with nice pretty reflections reside. Now, while this lovely reflection of the ball beneath is suggested to be real with CGI. Unfortunately, the area this claimed to be tin can moving in an orbital motion that is mathematically derived from flat Earth angle measurements to the lights in the sky, depicted here like this is the sun, would mean that, number one, we wouldn't have a claim to be bending horizon, axiomatically deviating from the horizontal plane of reference that all horizontals must lie within if describing an actual horizon, and the violation of the second law of thermodynamics that would be the high pressure gas not expanding into a 10 to the minus 17 torr claimed to be sky vacuum. So I don't need any CGI expertise to pull apart this VFX being appealed to by the show hosts. So what gives, lads? When you're pulling apart claim to be CGI or saying that it isn't CGI, your appeal is to a fanciful area like Narnia? Should I throw up a few pictures of wardrobes and then appeal to an area where sun and snow and different seasons can coexist as my proof of that? Because in Narnia, throw up some CGI of Narnia, like this, yeah? Is this what you're appealing to, lads? No. You see, someone like me with even less expertise than you can come along and debunk you based on knowing that this is CGI. So I undermine you, which is probably why I'm being asked to respond to this. Because without any VFX expertise, I can debunk you and say unequivocally, like I can place £1 million bet with the gentleman in this video and say, I bet you £1 million with absolutely no expertise whatsoever that this is CGI. How do I know? Second law of thermodynamics violation. Gas fills space. This gas would fill this space. What, you lads think that people are living down here in your CGI? You know it's CGI, and you would not take that bet for £1 million, would you? I say with absolutely no CGI expertise whatsoever, I wager everything I own, every last penny I own, I'll wager that this is CGI, with not a single day's training or a single day's expertise in CGI. I'll bet it all. I'll bet the farm that this is CGI. I'll bet it with the VFX experts. And I'm willing that these guys are probably rich enough to not care. But let them know. At Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me to tell you that he's bet every single thing he owns that this that you've appealed to is CGI. And he's not a CGI expert. He's not had a day's training. You can check. Yeah? You can go through my history. Performing arts, acting, technical theatre, about as close as I get to this, painting backdrops like they used in the moon landing. I'll call them out with expert knowledge to back the fact that the moon landing was filmed with a canvas backdrop they painted. Because I've painted them. So I'll appeal to my own expert knowledge in painting backdrops, like the ones used for the moon landings. But I'll still bet the farm that this is CGI, because it is, because it violates a law of nature. Now, this is like I was explaining to the guys yesterday, when they were saying you need to worry about being able to explain latitude and longitude in a way that's digestible to the audience. No, I've got something that supersedes knowledge when it comes to things like gas pressure and the law known as the second law of thermodynamics. I don't need a great understanding of the texts to repeat the second law of thermodynamics verbatim. I just need to know one thing. Gas fills space. It's called entropic dispersion, and it debunks this as CGI. But this isn't the moon landing, so I definitely don't have any expertise. There is no backdrop. Yeah? Having painted backdrops like the ones used in the moon landing, I can say that without any CGI expertise, that this doesn't use a backdrop. But I'll bet the farm that what they're appealing to is CGI based on the fact it violates the law of nature. I'll bet everything I own on it because it's a fact.
Also, at the point that you identify a UFO as a satellite, you made a positive claim, sir. It was unidentified flying object, not satellite. Nathan has debunked satellites. So it's back to unidentified at best.
Exact angle where it glints.
Oh, we're going to have to rewind that.
Did I hear the magic word?
I think we did, Neil. Oh, dear, Curly. You just said the magic word.
There is one thing, though, on that topic that you were talking about, though.
Go ahead.
The Glover will say that it's the gravity that's holding those gases down.
Gases aren't going down.
Like, preventing it from leaving this Earth to go to space.
There is no
Down the
space.
direction.
Space would be an area that volume, the gas could fill if it expands in all directions, which it does. It's a law of nature. So it doesn't overcome what I've said. I mean, you can stick your head in the sand and say, like my head in these sands, gas goes down. And gravity causes the gas to go down, go boom, boom, go splash, splash. But when a baller says that to me, I just direct them to point their head towards the sky and look at a cloud. Gas isn't doing that. Gas expands in all directions.
Also, length, breadth, and depth is space. Now you're asserting that gas is held down. Its altitude is being kept close to the surface of Earth. You're describing a flat Earth the entire time. You're giving a downwards vector with respect to an inertial plane if you're describing a force of down, which doesn't make sense on its face. You don't have gravity. Gravity is a pipe dream. It's a delusion you feed yourself.
Well, I thought you were going to take one step back from it. You don't have down. But your baller saying gas
Exactly.
go down, go boom, boom. Now, funny that was for the last 5 years. Gas go down, go boom, boom, go splash, splash. No, it doesn't. It expands in all directions. That's the point of that. But if you take it one step back, it's a bit like saying, no, we can't give him the black swan anymore. There's just too many concessions for me to tolerate it. It's too disgusting a taste left in my mouth, unfortunately for me. Now, you might like the black swan. I mean, it is pretty old now. It's not like I'm, poo-pooing it on its first day or anything. But you do have to just, in my humble opinion, give the baller just too many concessions for my liking. Now, in this case, one concession, gas go what? Gas go what, Neil?
He should have said gas.
You're not
is
playing
pulled
with me
in,
then.
because
Gas
you
go
can't say
what?
Down.
Down? What's down? What's down, Neil?
Down is the direction that you need a flat plane for.
You mean perpendicular
There's
to a
no
horizontal
down
plane of
above.
reference if you're going to just start talking about things like gravity? All right, what's gravity? Perpendicular to a plane of reference, the down at 9.8 meters per second if you're going to assert what things do in a vacuum, according to Newton? That's going to be a problem given that it's 110 years out of date and that gases aren't behaving in those ways. Gases aren't going down. They're not solids. But you need a flat plane.
Right.
Go ahead, John.
Yes, that's exactly it. You can't go to a law of gravitation to describe a force because you don't have it as a law. Gas is expanding in all directions, defying what you say is a law. So you don't have no law of gravity. The assertion that there's a downwards vector for gas to follow requires Earth to be flat to assert it. What on earth could you possibly think that's going to help you to say gravity?
Yeah. Unless you're going to acknowledge a horizontal plane of reference, you're going to be weighing things perpendicular to when describing a gas that you can't weigh. It's outside of the convention of downward or parallel or perpendicular or any of these axioms that you can have something move in a downward orientation perpendicular to a plane of reference to describe weight with. All right, how much did your fart weigh? as it spread out throughout the house, letting everybody know how dirty and stinky you were? Was that gas go down, go boom, boom with gravity? No, I'm thinking not, sir. So you can debunk them with a fart, is my answer to that.
I want to get back to the magic word that guy just said.
Say again, Neil.
I want to get back to the magic word that guy said in the video.
Well, angle.
I heard angle.
I heard angle too.
Airplanes. So a racetrack UFO is another way of describing a satellite when it's catching the sun from behind the horizon at that exact angle where it glints and then shines a light to a viewer as they're standing on the Earth. And we can.
Yeah, if you're going to describe any angular relationship from the sky to Earth, you'll need a horizontal plane of reference to describe any angular relationship with, bar none. You ball Earth, this nonsense garbage that you got up on screen while you were saying these words, yeah, that definitely doesn't count, because that's not going to give you a horizontal plane of reference to describe anything angular with respect to, because it has no angular relationship to describe it from.
And would you mind turning on the flashlight on your phone?
Of course.
And putting it, say, on that chair? You think of like a Starlink satellite, a lot of them oriented facing the Earth. And as it's coming over the Earth, and I'll see if I can ping you with a glint. Can I get you with a glint? So as they come over the Earth, they go, shwing. I don't know if I got it. There's an exact angle where if you stand on the planet, that little...
No, you don't get to describe angles with respect to a planet. Yeah? Do you not know what an angle is, sir? I mean, it seems pathetic that somebody with 6.84 million would be describing how an angle works with respect to something spherical. No. If you're going to describe an angular relationship, you need it to be terminating at a vertex point. That thing that's terminating at a vertex point would be two straight lines. If one of them's being formed with the horizon, then you're not describing anything in an angular terminology if what the ground represents is a curved surface. Then you don't have any angle descriptions to describe at all, ever.
Flat satellite will perfectly capture the sun and glint it off that satellite and right into your eye, and it's a very small area of focus, which leads to the satellite going dark, very bright, and then going dark again. The reason pilots report seeing it to the east when they're flying to the east.
No, definitely not. So again, back to the original debunking. If it's a satellite, then it resides in a second law of thermodynamics violation sky vacuum in an orbital motion. The orbital motion is derived from flat Earth elevation angle measurements of the stars and sun, specifically Polaris to create the system, and then you can derive orbital motion from those measurements. Now, the derivation of orbital motion, that would be the path you're suggesting that these satellites, in quotes, are flying around the Earth with, violates the base principle measurement of Earth to create that description of an orbital path that a satellite would be in. So it may not be the case that this gentleman is explicitly and overtly describing orbital motion. He's just used one word, satellite. Unfortunately for him, his ignorance of orbital motion that satellite necessitates is his downfall, because it requires a planar surface be measured to mathematize into existence the satellite's orbital path.
It's because as the sun is rising, those little satellites are coming over the...
Sun is rising is the same rhetorical language. I wish I'd just played that before our last pause because I wouldn't have to repeat myself. This rhetorical language of the sun rising is their description, which would be measured with an angular relationship with respect to the horizon. That's what the sunrise can be attributed to mathematically. An angle measured off a plane. But in terms of their rhetorical language that they have just utilised in connection with the last sentence, it puts the sun in motion from your perceived vantage point on a turning Earth, with you, the Earth, now in orbital motion around the sun. Now, all of this is rhetorical language, but it's unfortunate for them, without any expert knowledge in heliocentrism, that they've inadvertently appealed to these motions, that leaves them in a sticky wicket where they're having their claimed explanation for it debunked by a total VFX layman. That would be me. Because I can say these gentlemen are wrong, because their ascribed motion would be orbital. An orbital motion is a bastardization of the origin measurement of a flat Earth. meaning that you can't suggest that things move in a cyclical orbital motion when the motion's been derived from the flat plane linear measurements of angles that we actually measure to create orbital motion in the first instance. So no, it's definitely not a satellite, it's definitely not in a sky vacuum, and the sun definitely isn't coming up in this rhetorical fashion that's being described and attributed to orbital motion as per their CGI I bet the farm on. Good video, by the way, good choice. And now we've finally got there, Amir. I see exactly why you wanted us to cover this.
The horizon of the planet, catching that little glint, moving.
Again, I paused the video 2 seconds sooner than I should have done. He said it, planet. There you go.
Out of the way.
Okay, which means going back to the first example.
It means that everything you've said is wrong. I've debunked you. 6 point whatever million, me, little old me, completely debunked everything you've just said. Ripped it to shreds. And I based what I described on the facts of Earth measurements. That's elevation angle measurements to the stars, specifically Polaris for latitude, and linear distance measurements, and orbital motion being derived from those flat Earth angle measurements. Your sky vacuum being a violation of the natural law we call entropic dispersion, or the second law of thermodynamics. So based on facts, I've debunked these CGI experts. Didn't even need any expertise in VFX. Just needed to know how gas disperses and Earth gets measured. Because with those two facts, I could debunk their appeal to imagery as CGI and their claimed motion of the lights they're describing as being heliocentric orbital and a derivation of the flat Earth measurements of angles. Debunked, gentlemen, so no. My name's Nathan Oakley. If you do a response video into me absolutely ripping apart your nonsense waffle that is incorrect, be sure to put a link to my video at Nathan Oakley 1980.
It looks like they're just rotating. They actually are going in a line because they're literally this constellation of like a dozen or so satellites in a line, and they're going through that small zone where they're reflecting light one after another.
No, they're not. No, we haven't got any lions in Narnia. There aren't any journeys through wardrobes, and there are no traversions of high-pressure gas not filling sky vacuums where satellites move in an orbital motion, gentlemen. You are wrong.
There's a couple really interesting things in these different viewings.
One of the great challenges in this world is knowing enough about a subject to think you're right.
When I say Earth is measured flat, that's not me thinking I know enough about a subject to think I'm right. That is me simply stating an absolute fact. It's why I can have the supreme confidence I have to bet the farm on statements of fact when it comes to natural laws. Knowing a natural law isn't thinking I've got enough knowledge to get by like Neil deGrasse Tyson implies in this advert. Yeah? I know Earth is measured flat, and all you as an audience member need to do to verify that is go and check any Earth measurement ever. I know gas fills space because it's not a belief I hold that I can get by with. It's a law of nature. Coincidentally, a law of nature that debunks Neil deGrasse Tyson's religious rhetoric of a sky vacuum that the high-pressure gas we're all breathing doesn't fill. In violation of the known facts we call laws of nature.
First, let's talk about the spinning disc one. First things first, if you actually spin a disc and you have points on the edge of that disc, the points will appear to get closer together at the sides of that disc when you have perspective coming into play. But
what coming into play? Perspective? Oh dear. You're going to need a flat Earth for that. Now, we had a guy, his name was Conspiracy Cats, and he ran a channel where he pretended to debunk people like us, flat earthers. The problem he had was twofold. The first problem he had was you can't have gas pressure without a container, and as a high school science teacher, he understood implicitly in the, and I kid you not, again, this is not an exaggeration, it's not like Creaky Blinders saying I've said it hundreds of times. I told Conspiracy Cats no less than 125 times as he stalked me just like Toon stalks me in my comments, that you can't have gas pressure without a container. The gas would fill the space. Now that sent that gentleman nuts progressively over time. Conspiracy cats. Slowly going nuts as he couldn't address this fact. Because it's a law of nature, unlike Tyson's suggestions that some people can get by. Yeah, these are facts, described with laws of nature, that you can't overcome if you've got a sky vacuum belief. You know, the one that I just debunked these guys, Corridor Crew, in terms of where they suggested the orbital motion of a satellite would be. Yeah, Katz had the same problem. But then he was pushed over the edge of sanity by perspective, and I'll quote him. I'll give you a flat earth for that, end quote. When talking about perspective. So if you guys want to describe the perspective of these lights in the distance, then you need to sink to your knees in acknowledgement of the flat earth measurement. There's that word again. Yeah? Notice how this isn't my belief or getting by. It's my absolute supreme confidence that if Earth's ever getting measured, it's getting measured flat. And what do you know? Here we are with discussions about how we could measure these lights in terms of their perspective. What's that? I can hear conspiracy cats in the distance. I'll give you a flat Earth for that. You're damn right you will. You'll need a flat Earth for it. Because Earth's getting measured, isn't it? In terms of the perspective. So Earth will be measured flat. For this perspective in this description here.
In this case, a spinning disk, all the lights stay evenly spaced apart as they come in and out of the light, so it's not a spinning disk. It's actually satellites moving in a line. And those
Oh, really? What, in an orbital motion in a sky vacuum in an area of volume that gas isn't filling in violation of the second law of thermodynamics? When describing the angular relationships that you infer that you haven't got a perspective situation. Did you realise that in your heliocentric motion and inferences of ball Earth horizons for suns to rise over, there is no perspective in those descriptions? How can you appeal to it not being perspective when your glorified ball Earth religion with suns rising over horizons has no perspective to appeal to? Can you not hear him in the distance? That would be conspiracy cats. I'll give you a flat Earth for that. Yeah, you will, yeah. Yeah, there is no perspective in a ball Earth heliocentric motion with orbits for satellites. What are you talking about, lads? You guys can't appeal to perspective for this. God, how ignorant can we be? Is that enough, by the way? Have we covered enough to your satisfaction, A.E. Mia?
Oh no, the best is coming. I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to say anything.
satellites are all oriented the same way, and they're all catching that little brief glint of sun. Now, remember,
Right, satellites are all orientated the same way? Yeah, orientation will require a flat Earth to describe its orientation with respect to Earth. Again, because we're describing things and how they'll get measured and described in terms of their orientation will be required to be a flat Earth, because there's no other way to describe this. So, lads, it's nice that you're here, being thrown on your knees without you realising it, in acknowledgement of the flat Earth that you keep needing to use.
remember, the sun's not shining on a little specific spot. The sun is shining on everything, right? They're just angled in a way where that reflection lines up to your eyeball for only...
No. See, notice how in this stupid, batshit insane world, we've got a giant sun that bears no relation in terms of its physicality or size to the Earth or non-perspective scaled satellite. Or, just noticed, aeroplane. Yeah, that's because there's no perspective in this world. Yeah, you don't need, but this isn't perspective for you, lads. You debunked it by saying the lights would get closer together and then you're presenting an orthographic view. Do you not understand the views you're using? Yeah, this is basic stuff. This is not a perspective view. You appealed to the lack of perspective. Was that so that you could go to this orthographic world of heliocentric motion? You see, the problem with this, lads, is that the angles you're describing don't comport with the angle measurements used to create the ball in your diagram. I don't think I need to point out that this is also CGI. I'm not going to bet the farm on this one. Yeah? I think we all know this one's CGI, don't we, lads? Yeah? Yeah, this definitely is CGI, but you're appealing to this again because you don't seem to have any pictures of the satellites in this space vacuum. You're appealing, yeah, you never will. Yeah, it's a violation of natural law, yeah? You're going to take that bet with me that the other one's not CGI? Because that one seemed a little bit more real now, didn't it? But yeah, here I am betting the farm that that's not real. CGI, yeah? VFX, yeah? Yeah, so's this. Just a little bit more egregious with its nonsense that won't give you descriptions of angles. Yeah, you describe the angle to the satellite and the sun? Yeah, this perspective won't fly in an orthographic view.
Only that brief moment of time, just like I demonstrated with my phone here.
A brief moment in time for you is a bending and warping fourth dimension invented by a man named Einstein. Why are you appealing to time? Is there a bent warping space-time dimension in this CGI, VFX nonsense waffle that you're appealing to? For an orbital motion that you haven't in any way proven or verified? When you suggest that the angles that could only be with respect to a flat plane are the reason that you know it's in an orbital motion in a sky vacuum? My God, gentlemen, there's no reason whatsoever for you to have these 6 million odd subscribers, is there? I mean, you're complete idiots. Why are you using CGI as your appeal? Don't you feel rather stupid? Aren't you supposed to be debunking this sort of nonsense? Isn't that your forte? What's this? This is what you're appealing to, gentlemen. Oh, dear. Did you not have anything better? Aren't you VFX experts? Could you not have provided something a bit more realistic to appeal to as a realistic explanation of how reality works? Wouldn't it be better to just give it us as a reality-based explanation? Couldn't you have filmed this? Oh, what? You can't get out into the sky vacuum, right? No, you can't. That's right. It's a violation of natural law. There is no sky vacuum. There's no trips to the moon. There's no orbital motion. That violates the measurements of a flat Earth that we use to create that maths.
Now, what you are seeing here is 3 different satellites moving in 3.
No. Everything I own. Yeah? My channel, everything. I'll even bet my kids.
3 different directions, and it's just by chance
That's crazy.
that they happen to all catch the light, be oriented the same way, and make a little triangle.
That is crazy timing.
And here's proof. So Mick West has built this tool called...
You're gonna appeal to Mick West's computer program? Gentlemen, do you now know the difference, having worked in VFX, between reality and computer-generated imagery? Because it seems like you're appealing to Mick West's software for a globe to suggest orbital motion. Now, call me shocked, but wouldn't it be more prudent of you to actually appeal to physical reality rather than Mick West? You see, Mick West's quite an interesting character. I had him over a barrel when he tried to justify his physical reality measurements for the R value used in his programming. And he basically admitted, it's just made up. We just assume it. He's got no proof in reality. I personally had Mick West over a barrel spanking his pathetic lying arse over the assumption of an R value used in this program you're appealing to, gentlemen. Maybe you weren't aware of me because I get so heavily suppressed in the YouTube algorithm. But this numpty dick that you're appealing to called Mick West has had his arse handed to him in regards to the R value assumption that he would need to make in order to make this practical demonstration of reality a reality. No, it definitely isn't reality though, is it? It uses an assumptive R value. We've later found out that R value actually comes from measuring a flat Earth, superseding the need to humiliate Mick West's assumption of an R value that I got out of him about 8 years ago. Yeah, he just assumes the value for the maths for this model. Total assumption, he just assumes it. Yeah, that's what I got out of him. Yeah,
Also,
lying shitbag. Go ahead, John.
If you look at his advanced calculator, he uses eye level as a horizontal planar reference.
Yeah, Mick West's curve calculator uses surface level. It's a starting point for the measurements. If you're going to infer distance to geometric horizons, as Mick West does in his Begging the Question, Proof of Nothing, Perspective Hijacking Earth Curve Calculator, then you will absolutely, without question, require you measure surface level. It's labelled surface level. Again, just to refer to Neil deGrasse Tyson in terms of his suggestion that you can just get by with things that you think might be true. When I appeal to Mick West and how Earth will always be measured flat, I just point out surface level and how you'll require you measure your height off surface level for a parallel eye level for, begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking Earth curve mathematics to function at all. Ergo, when I say Earth is measured flat, I'm telling you how you require that to be the case. In this instance, Mick West's utilisation of surface level measurements. And what's that I hear them say? No, surface level actually bends. No, we're deriving dip angles to a geometric orthographic position below surface level, marked with an X and labelled horizon, that can only be derived if your measured height off a flat Earth has a parallel eye level. It's necessitated that the surface level is flat. And it's the starting point for all measurements of Earth. So when I say, with supreme confidence, Earth is measured flat, it's one of those things that I can instinctually bet the farm on a flat Earth without having any knowledge or measurements under my belt, because that's how you require Earth be measured, and how Earth is always measured. That's flat.
Sit rec, where you can position yourself and you can see the satellites in a live flight pattern.
Sorry, is this live? My men, are you mental? Do you not know the difference between opening your frickin' eyeballs and looking out of a window and this from Mick West? Do you think this is a live view? Listen to your own stupid, nonsensical words that you're saying and look at what's on screen as VFX experts and use those words again without me vomiting. Live view? Live view? Live view? Do you know what live means? Like derived from living? Is this what you think live is, gentlemen? Expunge yourself from the community of VFX experts if you're going to call this a live view.
Creating the moment that you've seen.
That's cool.
Oh, are we? Is that what VFX is pretending to do? Pretending to create a moment that we've seen? No, we didn't see it. We saw Mick West's computer program, you batshit insane morons.
For all these racetrack UFO sightings.
Whoa.
So there's the triangle happening in the bottom right corner.
Oh, well, this proves it then. Now I've seen the real thing live in Mick West's program. Yeah, did I mention that I debunked Mick West about 8 years ago? Live. That's to say he was talking to me live, in person. It wasn't a CGI rendering of what a computer thinks Mick West looks like when he explained to an audience, my audience, that he assumes our values in his programs. He hasn't measured them, he assumes them. Yeah, it wasn't him represented by a little model in a computer. It was him telling me live. Does this look live, gentlemen? Call yourselves VFX experts? What are you doing? Oh, of course. Why am I getting so angry? I forgot. This affirms their heliocentric globe-based religion. So all expert knowledge that they possess is immediately thrown out of the window if you're trying to confirm that the Earth's a sphere and satellites move in orbital motion. Then, debunking VFX, no, this is a live view.
There's the position where it was filmed, and there's the video in the top right corner.
And so we're seeing when they would actually be catching light.
Mm-hmm. So those flares that you see there, like the big fuzzy balls getting bigger, is the actual program showing you when most of the glint will be.
Is it the actual program? No, is it the actual program showing me? No way. So when you next rip apart a VFX program, shall I just take what you say and say, no, it's the actual program showing it us? Sorry, does that mean it's proven then, if it's the actual program? You bunch of clowns. Listen to yourselves. How hilarious you become, affirming that which is suggested not to be VFX with this. Oh, well then, this is obviously proven. What a bunch of idiots. Is that it? Is there any more? A.E. Mir?
Sorry, that was the main thing. I know they just saw McWest shows up a little bit, and just a little bit, but you covered it. You hit it out of the park, like I said.
Okay, I couldn't find the McWest bit just by scanning through, but yeah, jolly good. I see why you got us to cover it now. It always becomes clear towards the end of the video, never in the build-up. I mean, sometimes it does, but you know what I mean. Brilliant choice. Right, so let's just appeal to my audience to let Corridor Crew know. At Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a polite comment that doesn't immediately get eradicated by the YouTube censor bots, or indeed the videographers themselves when going through their comments. So I have put a link to Corridor Crew in my live stream chat for the 77 people that are watching currently. So, peak viewers aside, there is currently 100, I keep saying 100 because I'm looking at the peak number. There is currently 77 people watching the show. So if you are currently watching this show, please go and check out Corridor Crew's original video, the title of which is VFX Artists Debunk Real UFO Sighting Videos with real CGI. I mean, this is the real program after all. So, I mean, it is the real program that they're appealing to. Oh my God. Himsake says for 1999. You hit this out of the park. Thanks, sir. Oh, thank you. Really appreciate the super chat there. Thank you very much, Himsake. Thank you for the super chat. Any reactions from my panel?
No, but the chat is going crazy. There's a guy in here claiming you don't need a container for gas.
To have existent gas pressure, yes, you absolutely require containment. Without the containment in the first instance, there is no pressure. If you have existing gas pressure, like with my flatulence example, you can disperse gas throughout existing gas that's under containment. Now, is that to say that once the flatulence has departed from my containment, that I could say, well, look, that flatulence has no containment? No, it's dispersed from its containment and is now spreading out throughout existing gas pressure. So where did we acquire said existing gas pressure from? Well, that would be, as per the definition of gas pressure, the force exerted on the walls of the container.
Right, I keep telling him all your examples are taking place in existing gas pressure. He claims that it's a magnetic containment. It works by directing and reducing impulse in specific directions. So we have a magnetic container now.
Right, if you suggest that the magnetism of the container that he infers is what? Pulling gas, go down, go boom, boom, go splash, splash. No, gas doesn't behave like that, right? Gas expands in all directions. Now, the only thing that impedes the direction of a gas particle is another gas particle, so it might collide with another gas particle. An object, so let's say it comes out of the ground, moves up, and then hits a tree. Well, change its direction, all right. Now, is the tree a container? Nope. Will gases that collide with parts of the tree change their orientation with elastic collisions? Yup. However, in all instances, without exception, regardless of if you're colliding with other gas particles or other objects that are in your path, at some point, your trajectory will be continuous until you collide with the walls of the container. Now, if you imagine, for the sake of argument, the Earth in the heliocentric worldview that people want to defend with this nonsense of magnetised gas particles, if you were to imagine that the first gas particle came out of the ground, as all gas particles do, and then what it was faced with was, as per the rest of the heliocentric bullshit world of sky vacuums akin to Narnia, it was faced with a 10 to the minus 17 torr area of volume. What's the gas doing? Does it come out of the ground, head in an orientation, let's say it's not impeded by anything, there's no trees, and then when it gets to, I don't know, let's just say an arbitrary point, 1,000 metres in the air. At that point, does it say, you know what? I've decided I'm going to disobey the descriptive laws of nature that govern how I behave and just go back down again. I'm going to reach absolute zero, defying a different law of nature, and then increase my velocity in the opposing direction than when I travelled, having not collided with anything. And this line that I'm just going to arbitrarily change direction in, having traversed through absolute zero in terms of my state and temperature, I'll then go back to the ground from whence I came for absolutely no reason, in line with absolutely no law and violating several others. We'll call this arbitrary place, I don't know, we'll call it the Kármán line. Yeah. And then we'll say that when I reach this point, even though I dispersed up to it, away from the ground, that when I get here, suddenly I become magnetic. And then disobey natural law to go back down to the ground so that I can chill out with other gas particles doing the same thing. And I'll form this arbitrary line of lazy gas particles that don't want to go no further and have decided they will disobey natural law and just go back to the ground that they came from. No reason. They just will. They won't go into the area of volume that they were expanding into prior. No! Why would they want to follow laws of nature? We've got a heliocentric bent world to go back to. So they go back to the bent world. There's a satisfying line that we can call the Kármán line, and we're all breathing a high-pressure existing gas and describing our farts don't need containers. That's what we do. Perfectly acceptable, Neil.
Yeah, he's losing his mind. There's nothing you could do. Like I don't even want to talk about gas. I want his measurements for the globe.
I'll talk about gas all day long. Oh yeah, oh dear, that's, excuse me, curry last night. Just get me a magnet. I'll sort that out. I'll get rid of this horrible smell. Just get me a magnet. I'll just hoover it all up into a puddle.
Nathan, gravity reduces kinetic energy. Don't you understand that?
Gravity is a description that requires a horizontal plane of reference. Okay, you say gravity, you say. Gravity is a downward bias. 9.8 meters per second in a vacuum. Okay? So gas go down, go boom, boom, does it? No, gas is created at ground level and goes up. So number one, these orientations require a flat Earth horizontal plane of reference to describe them perpendicular to. Down, you say? Sorry, don't you mean in? Like, as in towards the centre of a ball versus out towards space. Outer space, in towards the core. There is no up and down on a ball. You appreciate that, right? So when you say down, gas go down, right? Down, like it's got a magnet, yeah? Even though it doesn't do that, it comes out of the ground and goes up. But let's just accept, on faith, that gas go down, go boom, boom. Because obviously there's these huge sky factories that are producing gas and pouring it down upon us. Yeah. In this stupid Narnian world where we go through wardrobes and observe sky factories producing gas, pouring them out of buckets on top of us. Because that's how gas behaves, yeah. It's not like the reality that we actually experience where puddles, that's water in liquid form, turn into gas and then go up. Because obviously they're attracted to the frickin' magnets. When they form the clouds, they're actually going down. Go boom, boom, go splash, splash. With magnetic gravity defying downward vectors that have to have perpendicular, axiomatic, horizontal planes of reference to describe down with. So fine, this nonsense that gas that goes up from the ground is going down. I'll just accept it because you're a numpty religious believer in a ball Earth that's made with flat Earth measurements. So I'll accept it. Why not? Let's give you 3 concessions so we can carry on with this conversation. So now you're going to get on your knees and acknowledge the horizontal plane of reference you need down to be perpendicular to. You're going to do that. You're going to acknowledge that you need a flat Earth for this. For us to carry on. I mean, I've already given you several concessions. I've ignored the flat Earth that gets measured to create the ball Earth. I've ignored the flat Earth that gets measured to create orbital motion. I've ignored the violation of the second law of thermodynamics that you need to suggest that gas go down, go boom, boom, from the sky factories creating the gas, and ignoring the puddles and the evaporation cycle I was taught in high school. I'm ignoring all of that so that we can get to this down that you say the gases are following. So we're accepting a perpendicular plane of reference for this down then. You're accepting the flat Earth that we'll measure, are you? Next. Is that it? Man, time flies when you're having fun. And by time, I
Yeah,
don't
he
mean the
seems-
bending conceptual space-time.
He seems to have gone silent because I told him, I said, listen, don't be a chat skank. You seem like you're an intellectual. Join the show. But it seems like now he's gone silent.
Well, you
since
just
I
need to
raised
answer my
his
question.
questions.
Is he accepting the horizontal plane of reference? And that horizontal preference, plane of reference that down can only, this is axiomatic, can only be described with respect to. If that is to be referenced to Earth, as in any value in this discussion, then Earth is that horizontal plane of reference. Unless you don't want it to have anything to Earth, in which case get lost, go away, you've got no measurements to reference to Earth. Oh, what's that? You do accept that we'll measure Earth as a horizontal plane of reference and that the gas, which goes up, is coming down perpendicular to the plane of reference that Earth is being used as. Oh, well, then we've got a flat Earth measurement, haven't we? Oh, you don't like that it's an Earth measurement? You don't want it anything to do with Earth anymore? It's not Earth that's the plane of reference perpendicular to it when you describe down for gravity that gas isn't doing. It's not Earth. Okay, so you don't have any Earth measurements then? It's what we call the hard place. You don't want to accept your Earth measurements now they're flat? Well then bugger off, you haven't got any Earth measurements. Oh, you do? You want to come running back and accept that they're Earth measurements that are flat? Oh, you don't like accepting them as flat Earth measurements that they are to be perpendicular to, for down, to make gas go down with respect to it. Yeah, there's a reason he's buggered off, Neil. Earth's measured flat for his example, isn't it?
Now he's answering other people in the chat. Thermodynamics.
Well, he just needs to answer me. Does he accept? He said gravity. I want to accept it. I want to be on his side. I want to pander to him. So I'm going to ignore that gas isn't coming out of the ground with puddles and evaporation. It's coming down. Go boom, boom, go splash, splash with magnetic gravity. So we're going to be measuring it with respect to the Earth down. This is the gas he's describing, contained on a magnetic Earth container with gravity. So we're accepting perpendicular down with respect to a plane of reference that's Earth then. He's talking to other people because he understands that he's at the point that his chat skanking shite has been addressed and been brought to the conclusion that we need a flat Earth to describe gas going down. No, gas doesn't go down. But if he's going to infer that it does, he's going to need to acknowledge a flat Earth to do so, isn't he, Neil?
Yes, so he says, so you are presuming measurements are flat and thus can only be flat, so no need to take measurements and verify them.
Oh, no
No, we don't
worries.
assume.
Oh, no worries. So you've chosen the hard place. So you don't want these to be measurements that are referenced to Earth then. You say they don't have to reference Earth. Oh, did the title of the show confuse you? Flat Earth debate, it's not anymore because it has to be flat when you measure perpendicular to a plane to say that gas go down. Suddenly it's not Earth measurements. Oh, bye-bye. So you don't have any Earth measurements then? Oh, well, then you have nothing. Oh, unless you want to come back and get on your frickin' knees and acknowledge the flat Earth measurements that you, not me, you require. So you can either acknowledge the perpendicular to a plane of reference you're down for gas to go would be, or like you've done, acknowledge you don't have any Earth measurements, not Earth measurements, you say, Neil. You're saying they're not flat, not perpendicular. Oh, you don't want these axioms. Oh, that's okay. You can just get rid of them. We don't have to hear them. No worries.
For sure, 45 degrees, 5,000 kilometers from north. But then he said coming back later, need other things to attend to. Yeah, run.
Run, you pathetic globe-believing numpty. You require Earth to be measured flat, and when we're asking, I assume your chat skanking's been prolonged until the point that you're actually getting it addressed by me on the live stream. And your chat skanking suggests that gas go down, go boom, boom. No, we dealt with it. It doesn't. You're an idiot. Meanwhile, to describe anything going down, you need a horizontal plane of reference perpendicular to that orientation. That's a flat Earth prerequisite. You're going to tell me that, what? Oh, well, it's not Earth then. Oh, well then, bye-bye, dickhead. Got other stuff to attend to other than the chat skanking about Earth that you were doing until you reach a point where Earth must be flat, and then suddenly what you were chat skunking about, that'll be gas going down. Doesn't have anything to do with Earth after all. Oh, well then obviously we totally understand you having to attend to other things, while we point out that down is an orientation with respect to a flat Earth.
So what is the elevation it should be according to flat Earth?
Sorry, elevation is a flat Earth prerequisite also. Height is also always described perpendicular to a plane of reference. And if you're describing it for Earth, it's your height above sea level, because you're perpendicular to it. Idiot. You're asking me about elevation that could only be ever described on a flat plane, how it would work on a flat plane. Elevation can only work on a flat plane, you complete idiot.
Yeah, he's asking what the distance is from the equator, 10,000 kilometers?
Well, the equator is a measurement of an elevation angle. He obviously doesn't understand what elevation angles produce in terms of equatorial values that are then bastardized into mile values, circumferential in nature. The radial value is a derivation, and that radial value can be called a radius, but it's not. It's a line along the ground after measuring Polaris. That's all it is. The line along the ground that you're utilising to create this equator is a flat Earth measurement of Polaris. So his question, which seems to want to take me to a place where we've already measured a flat Earth elevation angle to Polaris to derive an equator, to ask me about it, you need to be on your knees acknowledging the flat Earth elevation angle measurement to Polaris for you to infer the calculations, not measurements, of something you, not I, call the equator. Now, before we have any discussion about equators, you're going to need to drop to your knees and acknowledge the flat Earth elevation angle measurement that's measured with respect to the plane of Earth's surface. And when you do, we won't be having any discussion about what you think the after the fact, that's after the flat Earth measurement fact with angles, radial value's going to be doing or not doing. Yeah, that would require we all ignore the flat Earth that gets measured with angles to Polaris, wouldn't we? So, for me to answer your question, chat skank, I thought you had prior engagements, but clearly not. You got another question about something that isn't related to gas going down perpendicular to a flat Earth plane of reference. You got a new question about a flat Earth elevation angle derivation you call the equator. We're going to be on our knees acknowledging the flat Earth elevation angle before we move forward. By the way, when you do, we won't be moving forward. You can also choose the hard place and say no. Just because we measure elevation angles to Polaris to give us the equator doesn't mean Earth's flat. Doesn't mean we're measuring Earth. It only becomes Earth after we measure Earth flat and call it the equator, and then it becomes ball-shaped. Because then I can ignore the measurements of Earth that's flat and say it isn't.
Well, you're going to love this one, Nathan. You're going to love this one. For the sake of argument, I give you your flat Earth, not more. So use your model.
Oh, so for the sake of argument, you accept and understand like cats did, that for perspective, you'll have to give us a flat Earth. No, You don't need to give you anything. What that is, sir, is me taking a baseball bat metaphorically to your knees. When you say, I'll give you a flat Earth, no, you didn't give me jack. What I did was rubbed your nose in it. Now you're on your knees with your nose being rubbed in it. My heel is on the back of your head, shoving it into the flat Earth you require. Don't say, I'll give you a flat Earth. I don't want anything from you, stupid clown. What you got from me is your nose rubbed in the flat Earth you need. So you don't need to give me anything. I'm not suggesting gas go down. I'm not asking questions about the equator. You require Earth be flat for your stupid nonsense of equators, for your nonsensical gas go down, go boom boom, for your globe Earth religion. You need a flat Earth. You're not giving me anything, dickhead. I'm rubbing your nose in it. Well, that was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, he says, okay, I rub my nose in it and rub it back as it fails. No, it doesn't fail. These are Earth measurements.
No, that's fine, Neil. So it fails. I see. So your equator value measurement fails. Back to the hard place, it would seem. Yeah? Do you notice how I'm leading you with where you go? I gave you the option. You could go to the hard place. Yeah, now you're in the hard place with your teeth being smashed against it by me, metaphorically. Because you haven't got any frickin' measurements then, have you, dickhead? So what are you giving me again? Yeah, you will be on your knees giving me a flat Earth, will you, when you require it to be measured for your rhetoric? Or you'll disappear because you haven't got any measurements anymore. They're not actually flat Earth measurements. They fail for you. You're the one appealing to them, you pathetic dick. I don't need any measurements. But yours are all flat. So you can keep them. Or relinquish them and say they're not valid. I don't care. But you absolutely require a flat Earth. And when you start barking at me about how bleeding globe-shaped it is, you'll get a metaphorical baseball bat to your knees, and you'll crash into the ground, squealing, I'll give you a flat Earth! I'll give it you! I'll give you it! Oh, it's not measurements, it's not really measurements of Earth! Oh, so you haven't got any Earth measurements for your globe appeal then, dickhead? Oh, you have? You want to come back to these flat Earth prerequisites that you need to be perpendicular to? These flat Earth elevation angle measurements for your equator? Yeah, that'll be me bashing your knees in or bashing your teeth in. You don't have to like either. You could just bugger off and leave me alone. Nobody's asking you to appeal to me about how bleeding globe-shaped it is. You're here appealing to me. Now, I'll appeal to the VFX experts. My brain's starting to boil. I can't put the fan on, it's too hot. I'm then going to round out this live show because it is literally, like, I'm not making it up, far, far too hot. And if I put the fan on it, just until I get my dead cat, it keeps popping my mic. So I'm going to round out unless anybody's got anything to add, because I'm literally boiling my brain. I feel like I'm dehydrated and drunk, you know what I mean?
No, we're good.
I was hoping you'd do something while I fill in with turning lights on and stuff, though, Neil. But obviously not.
Finish his last thing says, so you can calculate the angle? Question. Or shouldn't it be something suddenly?
No, you don't calculate the angle. So a flat Earth elevation angle measurement is a measurement that's used to derive this equatorial value that he's appealing to in the first instance. So the minimum elevation angle measurement to Polaris can be calculated after measurement with a strange to describe now I think about it, but circumferential value. But the derivation of that circumferential value that shouldn't really be described in miles, in my humble opinion, is an after-the-fact derivation of an elevation angle that gives you a radial value, a straight line. Well, the radial value that's being derived with the minimum elevation angle measurement to Polaris, number one, isn't a calculation, as he's just said, it's a measurement. And that measurement must be straight, because it won't be a radius to infer sphericity with if it isn't a straight measurement along the ground. So they're bastardizing the straight line measurement to infer radius for a flat circle to make into a sphere. But you're violating the original principle of the base measurement. So with that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So, another massive thank you to all of you who liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, hit up the guys that we were just covering, who are called Corridor Crew, and let them know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. As I say in the live show, if they were to respond, hopefully they'd put a link to my video in theirs. So once again, another massive thank you to today's Discord and G Plus panels. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.